It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Welcome. And I'm giving you a hand, everybody that's watching me live and everybody that's just watching me, period. Thank you. It's Friday. Yay, it's Friday. I know the calendar says Friday, but yay, the weekend is here. So on this show, we call Friday, the Geno Jones Show. Now live, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles. Listen, tell everybody you know to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe, share the episode, copy and paste the link in an email, in a text message. You can share the show on all of your friends' platforms. You can tag their pages on social media. You can copy and paste the link, put it in a DM in their message. Whatever, however you want to do it, it's good with me. Now, Monday through Friday, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, 3:30 on the West Coast. Now, programming note. So, a week from today, there will be no live show. And as a matter of fact, that will be, I believe, October the 4th. So, the 4th, the week of the 7th, there will be no live show. It'll be the best of the Geno Jones Show until we come back on October 11th. But Monday is October 1st, and that kicks off our month-long celebration on Tuesday. On Tuesday, because Monday is September 30th. Next Tuesday, October 1st, the Geno Jones Show turns 4 years old. So it's our 4th year celebration, 4-year anniversary celebration. It's going to be a month-long celebration, and we got some really, really fun, special shows. Some of my very, very first guests from 4 years ago. Some are regulars on the show. My guest co-host, my number one co-host, Kelia Karson, who joined me back, I believe it was back in either, probably November. We started the show the end of September, October. She came on around November, December of 2020, and she's still rocking with her brother. I appreciate it. You'll see her on screen in a few minutes. So, big celebration. So, a week from today, the best of the Geno Jones Show. No live show for about 5 days. The week of the 7th, no live show until Friday. So, 2 weeks from today, that'll be the next live show. After the show takes a birthday break for about 5 days. That'll be starting a week from today. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, live and in living color, the Geno Jones Show. Speaking of live and in living color, I ain't wasting no time, ladies and gentlemen, because it is the Week in Review show. Like I said, so I see what's old boy Ryan Seacrest. What he got? He may have Vanna White. Howard Stern had Robin Quivers. James had Florida. Cliff had Claire. Regis had Kathy Lee. Craig Melvin is about to lose Hoda, but he still got Savannah and Chanel Jones, who I love on the Today Show. But ain't none of them got the number one co-host in the history of co-hosts, the number one co-host in the history of living beings, human specimens, and all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is, fully melanated, the beautiful African queen, number one in your heart, number one in your program, the number one guest co-host on the planet of all time, Kelia Karson. Kelia Karson, soon to be doctor.
Yeah.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah. As soon as this camera goes off, I'll be back at the computer. It was a good first week of school for my doctoral degree, but it kicked my butt. This is second week, so I'm in the second week now, and it's kicking my butt. I'm looking at the calendar like, oh, okay, okay.
Now,
How many more things I gotta read? And
so remember, a couple Fridays, 3 Fridays ago, My guest,
I know. I remember.
Dr. Chris Jones, who's going to be back on the show, who is in real life, like a real life rocket scientist, got a doctorate in like astrophysics and all that. What was his words? He said,
Yep. He said, don't overdo, pressure yourself, just pass.
just get through it.
Just get through it.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. He said, don't worry about the grades. He said, just get through it.
But for those who don't understand a doctoral degree, you cannot pass below a 3.4, I think is for my program.
Oh, really?
So
yeah, you can't mess around. Yeah.
Yeah. Or because
so Key ain't no 2.5. None of that.
No.
See, no.
No, none of that. None of that. None of that. Yeah. So for all of you out there who aspire, and you should know those kinds of things about higher education, just like a nurse or a doctor, they cannot get C's. And so for even a doctor of education or a doctor of philosophy or a doctor of nursing or a doctor of any kind, you have got to stay beyond above that 3-point mark for your GPA. So you got to do the work. You got to study. You got to put it in, because when you think about it, who wants a doctor who has a C? I don't want that doctor.
Well, you got a good point. Well,
okay.
Your number one fan, your other mother, Mary Dixon, just posted. She said, "Hey, Keela, my other daughter.
Hey, Mom."
Good." All right, Key. So listen, I know we kind of had our pre-show meeting. It was a big week.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige's new album is coming out November 15th.
Yep.
She is going on tour in January. The tour is called For My Fans Tour. That's the name of the tour. It's been a lot. Stevie Wonder's doing like a 10-city. As a matter of fact, I guess he's coming home. Detroit is one of the 10 cities. In October, he is going on tour to try to promote unity and spread love before the election, according to Stevie. Let's see here. Gayle King signed a new contract to stay on CBS, getting that big bag. I'm not mad at Gayle King. And there's been a lot of talk. Janet Jackson, who had been misinformed by her brother and who's her manager, Randy Jackson. That whole thing that she had heard that Kamala White's dad is white, and he's not.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala. What is it?
You said Kamala White.
Where did I get that from? Okay, Kamala. Yes, Vice President Kamala. So Janet had been told that Kamala Harris's father, who is an African.
He's Jamaican, or
he's a black Jamaican. His roots are in Africa, like everybody, all of us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, her dad is not white. Right. So and it was a whole lot that was just been going on. As a matter of fact, Monday, I was the main part of my monologue. I talked about it, especially when you got people around you who you trust that's on some BS. It's just really bad. So, I am setting all that on the table for the weekend. I have set the table. We got the tablecloths. We got the good china. We got the special gold-plated silver. So now we've set the table for Dr. Karson to give us her take on this weekend review.
Well, okay. I have to start with Jan, as her family calls her. Let's go to Randy. Let's put Janet off to the side for a second. Let's go to Randy. I've been seeing the posts and the memes on, y'all know I'm having a hot flash now.
Did you check out his Instagram?
Say again?
Did you check out his Instagram?
I did not.
He may have deleted some, but he was.
Oh, okay.
So that's how a lot of people kind of got an idea. Okay, he on some conspiracy MAGA, Trump supporting stuff.
Yeah, I didn't bother looking because it's too close to the election for me to get upset. I already got a ride down the street and look at my MAGA neighbors' lawn signs because I'm in Macomb County, the county that gave trumped the election in 2016 in Michigan.
Let me
So,
ask you. Hold on, stop right there.
okay.
39 days until November 5th, but it's already election season. So
Yeah.
hasn't early voting? Did it start this week in
Yes.
Michigan?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
that's
can
what I thought.
start. You can send if you have mail-in ballots or you want to slip them in the box. You can.
So when can
Okay.
you vote early in person, or can you? You can do that in Michigan, or can
Um,
you?
I'm not
Oh,
sure, but
you can't vote early in person. It's only by
yeah,
mail. Okay,
yeah, I've not, but by mail you can.
okay,
Okay. So you can get that ballot in if you are, but you gotta already have it and have, you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Or you gotta go to the election office and get it. Okay. But to Randy and others like him, I've been seeing the memes and the posts on social media, specifically by men of color. And that's what I want to address.
and
Men of
specifically,
color.
some of you MAGA loving brothers that I called y'all ass out last night, Thursday and Wednesday. So keep being nice. I'm just,
Yeah. Well,
I'm just giving it to you straight, no chaser.
I want to, but some of these may not be MAGA lovers. And so follow me. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think some of these Black men who are putting up posts saying, oh, she's not Black. Like there's one post that shows Kamala's family on the top, her mother, and they're in their Asian Island Pacific address, a sari
Mm-hmm.
is what they would call it. Because Eastern Indians, that's a part of the attire for women. All right. So they're all in the saris and whatnot in their pose. And it's a cute family picture. So on the top is them. And then on the bottom, it's the Jackson family, who are all Black, right? And it says, I'm gonna leave it right there, point made, that kind of thing.
What point were they trying to make? Everybody,
Exactly.
her mother is
That
from
she's not
India.
Black. That she's not Black.
So
Okay.
her daddy is darker than she is. As a matter of fact, her daddy's darker than me. Immigrant from Jamaica, definitely Black. Her mother is actually darker than she is, a woman of color from
Yeah.
India who immigrated
Just like
her dad
JD
did.
Vance, just like JD Vance's wife.
Thank you, Key.
Just saying.
Who's actually darker than Kamala Harris.
That part. So, so let me tell you what I'm aggravated about. I think a lot of the Black men that are posting this, or these kinds of posts, are not necessarily MAGA. I think they're just trying to find an excuse, or publicly find an excuse to not vote for a Black woman. Because I think underneath it, they don't want to vote for a Black woman, but they can't say that. So what they then do is deny she is Black, right? These are the same men. Because I went on one of my followers or friends, whatever you would call it, because I don't know this person from a can of paint. But I went on his page. His wife is a mixed woman, meaning like a mix of Black and white or whatever.
Right. Which in
And I
America,
said,
the one drop rule, I don't care how light you are, your ass
Right.
is Black. Trust me. The Klan or one of these racist cops, like they pulled over Tyreek Hill that played in Miami, won't see you. Oh, that's a light skin. Maybe she's no. You're gonna be Black.
You're Black. So I just think, Geno, I wish they would just stand up and say, I don't want to vote for a Black woman.
So listen,
and be done with it.
You are spot on. I don't disagree. Two things, in some cases, multiple things can be true. But there's a saying, two things can be true.
That's right.
I've called it out. I know you've been busy studying, but like Wednesday and Thursday, I absolutely called out the misogyny and sexism that is coming from, in no way is it the majority of Black men. Trust me, I know. I am out here, and I don't speak for all Black men, but listen, this is what Kelia and I, we do this entertainment thing. We are plugged in on many levels, and you can just look at the polls. Even the polls,
Yeah.
the majority of black men, it's right around 80, 88. I
Right.
saw, yeah, percent, the highest, any kind of bootleg poll, the highest number I saw that Trump may have gotten in terms of black men support was a legit poll, was somewhere in the upper teens.
Yes.
It's like, but the numbers I'm seeing are like 12, 15%.
But see, here's the problem. Because you don't want to look at it in an isolated bubble. What you want to do is see where those 10, 15% black men who are voting for Trump, who will actually go to the poll, because that's another thing, actually go to the poll, where do they live? The danger becomes when they're in areas like
Michigan, swing state.
Michigan. Well,
Michigan, Pennsylvania,
that's right.
Wisconsin,
That's right.
Georgia.
That's right.
Arizona is more Hispanic, so you don't have a large
Right.
African American population, but you got a lot of large Hispanic population. Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina is another one.
Another one.
Another one
Yeah.
in terms of African American men.
But if you're in Georgia, if you're in Michigan, where our black
Pennsylvania, of course.
Pennsylvania, where the black population is usually in the urban area.
Philadelphia primarily, and some in Pittsburgh.
Not Detroit,
Pittsburgh is a little less, but Philly's got a pretty large population, percentage of African Americans that make up the population of not just Philadelphia, but kind of like Michigan, the surrounding counties.
What Geno is saying is, like in Detroit, we have what's really called Metro Detroit. And in Metro Detroit, black people live all over Metro Detroit. So it's not just in the city. So that you got to be careful of that. But you want to watch those areas, because that 10, 12%, 15%, if they are heavily concentrated in those areas, if the vote is close, that could make the difference. And so that's why it becomes important to educate, inform our family who is on some BS and some crazy. Now, look, you can't vote for someone else. You can't take their vote away. It is your right. But I'm really sick of the stupidity. If you're gonna post something legitimate. Like, I don't like Kamala's performance as a prosecutor. She prosecuted too many African Americans, even though we know that.
Which that's a lie. Because
exactly.
She didn't.
But at least give me a cogent argument versus just posting the fact that she was sitting in a picture with her Indian mother. I mean, what if you have an Indian mother? Would you not grow up with a sari? Of course you would. Just like if you have an Irish mother, maybe you eat, haggis and sausages and potatoes and drink Guinness or whatever it is that your culture does. If your mom was
from Italy, you probably some pasta.
Some pasta, right? You don't deny who your family is, no more than you would want her to deny her black side, which nobody had a problem, because I didn't see his post of her sorority, picture of her on the top with her sorority sisters from a historically black university called Howard University in Washington, D.C. How come that picture wasn't at the top?
And those same
when you
women,
talk about her blackness.
And just to that point, those same women are like her closest friends in life to this day.
Yes, to this day. The friends that she talked about when she was doing the convention, the DNC, those were her black girlfriends
and they were there, yes.
They were there.
Who were there with her, going through the whole line thing, pledging and everything.
Exactly. So those were her sorority sisters from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Do your homework, fools. See, I don't mind an argument, but don't come to me with foolishness. Come with me with knowledge, and then we can have a fair fight. But right now, I just think they're posting that because they don't want to vote for a black woman. That's my opinion. Not the
Key. That's a part of it. As a matter of fact, two things can be true, and they
Yeah.
usually are connected. You know, the misogyny and the anti-blackness are like twins. They're like evil twins. Yes, there. I mean, there have been a few men that have been open. There have been a very few that have actually said it on social media posts, but I have had conversations with brothers, and I have gotten into these conversations and debates, and I've heard black men say to my face that, just like can't no woman she can't be the leader of the church, she can't be no pastor, can't no woman be no leader over no man, and that stupid ass, sexist, ignorant ass, and a lot of them I say, well, listen, now, how many of you all grew up? I had my grandparents, but my mom, for the majority of my life, was a single mom. You know, and the marriages that she was in, unfortunately, a significant number of those, and now damn near all of them, was abusive. So you had women that raised your black ass. Your mother, your grandmother, your aunts. So stop with this. Stop with the nonsense. But no, don't throw it. Keith, there's a saying like as we grew up in our neighborhoods, don't throw a rock and hide your hand.
Exactly. But that's what they're doing because they're ashamed to come out and say the truth because they do have black mothers and they do have black wives. They have black daughters. So they don't want to say what is really going on. So it becomes, oh, well, she's not black. As to my dear Janet Jackson, Geno and I had a discussion last night, and I thought about it, and so I'm going to briefly kind of give you the picture that Geno painted for me. He said, Key, this is a woman who has always been wealthy, because by the time she's born, the Jackson 5 is already starting, and their life dramatically changes. She was only at Indiana Jackson Street for 5 minutes.
Right. And then
they moved
out in the Havenhurst area. Out in Los
Angeles.
Went
out to Beverly.
Like
the Fresh Prince.
They did. They was the first Fresh Prince. They were the princess.
Okay. And so she, for the most part, was raised with wealth. Okay.
And point out the religious.
I'm getting there, Geno. So she was primarily raised in wealth, right? The next point is what Geno just mentioned, that the Jacksons, at least in their rearing, when they got older, I'm sure some of them went other directions, but they were raised by their mother, Catherine, and their father as a Jehovah's Witness.
And Catherine was really the practicing Jehovah's Witness.
Right. And in that religion, if you don't know much about it, I mean, there are more things about it than what I'm about to say, but one of the things is that they don't celebrate birthdays. They only celebrate anniversaries. They don't celebrate holidays, and they don't get involved in the political process. Yes. They don't vote. Now, having said all of that, I see Geno's point. Geno's like, well, Janet is kind of out of touch, basically, in a manner of speaking. She's out of touch. She's in a bubble.
In a bubble.
She lives in her world. She can buy whatever she wants. She don't care if it's Kamala, Donald, whoever. It's not going to matter to her. She's still going to be rich. She's still going to, travel. Her son will be fine and all of that. So when you have that kind of lifestyle, you can actually ignore a lot of all this other stuff that is going on. But I got to say to Janet, now that this individual that she was being interviewed by corrected her and said, no, dear heart, Kamala is black. Her father is black. I want to say to Janet, I hope that moment taught you that just because you have a different lifestyle doesn't mean you shouldn't study and know. You don't have to get a big dictionary and a big research, but go online and start reading. Go to CNN.com, go to whatever your local Beverly Hills Tribune, go open up a newspaper, child, and read.
But think about it, Key. She's in
And
her.
read.
Janet is in her early 50s. Janet and you around
Yeah,
the same age.
because
Yeah.
I'm 55. She's I think she's older than me,
Is
I
she?
believe. Or right
I thought
around
y'all
where.
right around the same age.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this in live.
She's not far from me
Live on
because I'm
TV in real
55.
time. How old is Janet Jackson? Google.
I think, yeah. See.
Oh, you're right. I didn't know she was 58.
See, I told you she's a little bit older than me.
Wow, 58.
Yeah.
Damn,
So, and I'm
Y'all
55.
getting old. Y'all getting.
Shut up.
I know. I got the nerve talking about y'all getting old.
Exactly.
I didn't know that she was 58 though.
Yeah. So
Wow.
my point is, you're too old to not have basic information like that. This is not, we're not asking you to solve quantum physics and to solve the economic crisis of America and all. We're saying, come on, you need to know who, in general, the two candidates that are running for the United States president in the country that you reside in. You got to know that. I mean, her best friend, one of her best friend is Missy. I'm sure Missy Elliott know that Kamala, because Kamala went to school not far from her in Virginia. I mean, ask Missy. So who are your friends? Who are these people that you're hanging around that you're not leaning on and asking questions of? And why aren't you asking questions of that? You have a son, Miss Jackson. You have a son. And I don't care how wealthy your son, your black son with an Arab father is, because he's going to be considered black all the way around.
He is black.
Okay, he is black. What kind of example is that for your child? Your child cannot be black male in this country and not know what's going on. So you got to do better. That's all, Janet.
But no, let's stay right there, Key, because in theory, listen, there were no lies told. I agree with everything 1,000%. But let's take a little quick deeper dive. We talked about she's been living in this bubble. She's grown up in terms of not really being politically engaged. Now, socially engaged she is.
Exactly.
Because many
people on social media.
Well, not even that. I'm talking when I say social in terms
and at Rhythm Nation.
Yes.
Rhythm Nation was all about.
Well, hold on. That's where I'm going. Thank you.
Okay.
And speaking of Rhythm Nation, for those who may not know, over 30 years ago, Janet established a Rhythm Nation HBU college fund that still exists to this day, where she's been giving out scholarships and like $5,000, $2,500, $2,500. She's been doing this specifically, and those scholarships have been going. That money has been going to those scholarships for 30 years. Over 30
that's
years.
Wonderful.
Because that's when the Rhythm Nation album came out over 30 years ago. Yep. So,
and she was with Colin Powell. Just a little. She had partnered. She had started before that, but then she partnered with Colin Powell for I think America's Promise. So yes, we know her work in the community.
So let's go
Absolutely.
back. Let's go back to that bubble. Now, for somebody who was raised, because we've never known any of the Jacksons to be political. They've spoken about social injustice and about Michael's whole album, Earth album, was about injustice, and he's written a lot about social injustice. But you've never known any of them to be political, ever endorse a political candidate. Now you laid out, you gave the proper context. They were raised in a family that didn't engage politically. That was part of the religious ethos.
But what was the song Janet and Michael did together?
Scream.
Yeah. And that was screaming about some of the injustice,
police brutality. Yes,
that's right.
But Michael had
am I black or white?
Yes, but they were not politically engaged.
Right.
So I get the point I'm trying to make is that she was raised that way, and she's really always been in a bubble. You mentioned Missy and all these folks. Really, Janet has been pretty. First of all, she moved over to the Middle East. Then apparently, the reports were that her husband, dude, baby daddy, had became verbally and somewhat physically violent. Randy Jackson, her brother, who she's closest to in age, who went over. The story is he basically went over there and got her and his nephew and brought them back and told dude, listen, dude, don't let this Hollywood Havenhurst house fool you.
Fool you.
We from 2300 Jackson Street, Gary, Indiana. And that Gary, Indiana, and it will show up on your ass. So the point I'm trying to make is that I don't want to say unfortunately, because look, they're brother and sister. They should be close.
Yeah.
And Randy, who is now her manager, he's been her manager for about 10 years.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Who else is really inside her bubble? She's a mother. She is still grieving the loss of Michael. And when all this came out, she lost her other brother, Tito.
Tito.
So I'm not somebody. Some people say, "Well, you just making excuses." No, I'm just giving it to you real because it's it's real easy for all of us to sit back and tell people what they should do and how they should live. But as my mother, who's watching me now, will always will remind me when I get full of myself. She like, "Wait a minute, Jeannie, you ain't got no heaven or hell to put nobody in. God didn't die and leave you in charge." So,
God didn't die and leave us in charge, but I just think that.
And I'm not key. I'm not. No, you were never judging.
Yeah, I just think that as a black woman in this climate, we got to do better. That's all.
So, but when you've been in this, who is it? So here's the thing: who is it that can really have those conversations with her? That's what we don't know.
Well, I'm sure her friends like Missy Elliott were like, ooh, child. Let's talk. Jan, I bet you they were texting her like, oh, girl, we need to have coffee. We need to have a cocktail.
You notice that there hadn't been any other statements released because supposedly there was a dude who claimed he was like with part of Janet's team or management, and he tried to clean it up. And then according to this guy, they fired him, but you haven't seen any statements released. So maybe somebody
they probably won't release anything
because it's a lose-lose right now.
Right. Let it die down.
Unless, but if I was, and Janet may have already done this, but if I had any influence, if you can just screen grab this and go ahead and tag it to Janet, screen grab it and just put it in her DM, just grab it next 30, 60 seconds. I would reach out to Kamala Harris's campaign and come up with a way, or maybe even surprise. Maybe when they're doing a big rally in California, don't even tell anybody, and just let Janet walk out on stage and say, I had been misinformed, but I support. That's if but she still, once again, let's go back to how she was raised as Jehovah's Witness. She may be rooted. They just my sister-in-law. She still as a practicing witness. She doesn't vote.
Right.
Like you said, she doesn't vote. They don't celebrate holidays like that. They celebrate anniversary. That's part of their religion. You got to respect. You don't have to agree with it, but that ain't for you to agree. That's her religion.
Yeah.
Everybody may not agree with your religion and how those in your faith practice their faith. So
my sister is a sneaky Jehovah. She went and got married. She got married on her birthday, so she.
That was cute. There you go.
I said, boy, I tell you.
Anniversaries.
I tell you, we'll find a way, won't we?
Yeah, we will. Hey, my great Conway Jones, the wisest person I've ever known, still to this day, said, Jeannie, you do what you want to do when you want to do it bad enough.
Yep. Amen to that.
That is so true.
So, I mean,
Hey, Keith,
If I
why
had,
don't you do a little short video when we go on your phone and DM Janet, send it to her.
you want me, hey Jan, this is
Because you
Key.
are huge. We both are. We love Janet. And you are, I
Oh
remember
yeah, I love
when the
no, no, no.
documentary came on. Yes.
Yeah. Love Janet. I even love what Randy did with the documentary overall. I mean, I think she should have talked about more and should have told a little more truth,
So,
but it was enough. It
but
was enough.
explain this, Key. Help me out. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it's, I don't know if it's, because still, we as men and women, we still look at things, certain things, just through a different prism, being a different gender. Because I saw some things when people were coming for her. I saw a couple of women. I didn't see guys. They were just saying some other sexist, anti-black bullshit. But some of the women were talking about, well, you need to kind of, basically talking about how the whole thing with this child she supposedly had by James, well, your son is 35. And,
By James DeBarge.
yeah, but why is that? So the point, what I'm going to ask you and try to find out, why is that? Why does that seem to be something that kind of not resonates, but there's this curiosity factor that women want to know. It's like
because black women.
Yeah,
and I'm
help me out with that.
Yeah, I'm going to come from black woman perspective. That our children, whether we are good mothers, bad mothers, sucky, great, whatever it is, as black mothers, we don't understand when a child is left on the side of the road. I mean, it's like, well, were you dying? Were you, there would have to be some, I mean, because we take care of our kids when we have nothing, right? And nobody. And when we're broken, we figure out how to take care of our children. So when they talk about, oh, but see, that's the assumption that she actually had the baby.
Yes.
And so to that point, I would like to say, sometimes as women, we like mess. We like to be messy. We like to sit in a glass house and throw stones. I'm
Listen,
just telling you.
my sister said it. I'm not even co-signing because men can be. Look, now I'm gonna be real. Is messy and petty and they say women can be catty and act like a bee. Men can be the biggest bees. Trust me. It's a different.
Absolutely.
It's a different kind of bee, but I'm
But
telling you,
a bee nonetheless.
yes.
Yeah.
You heard them. Don't be no BAN. You can't know what that BAN is.
Yeah.
So
So, but yeah,
there's some men it's a different kind of bee, but they can be a whole different.
if you don't know what BAN is, watch Cat Williams.
Oh yeah.
Because
right.
he do a whole segment on the BI. Yeah.
And he ain't talking about banning nobody on social media either. It's an acronym, BAN.
But yeah, I just think, Gina, I just think that sometimes we don't have nothing better to do. Little gossip, a little tea, and we get to judging, and I wouldn't have done that. I don't do that, and why she do? We think we got the answer. That our answer is the answer, and we are in some form or shape or fashion in a position to tell somebody else what to do with their life. But like your mama said, nobody died and made you.
Left you in charge. And you don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in.
That's right. So
when she told me that, it hit me that I forgot. I don't know what I was saying, but she said, you ain't got no heaven or hell to put nobody in. And it hit me like she had slapped me upside my head. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I guess I don't.
And I mean, even if, and this is hypothetical, even if she did have a baby with James DeBarge, you got to understand, she getting ready to hit, this before she hits.
Right before Control, yes.
So she's getting ready to hit a pivotal time in her life. This guy, she got to get up in the middle of the night and find out what corner he owns, smoking crack. Who wants to have a child with that?
And I don't know if he was violent. Did that come out in the doc?
I don't know.
But he had a bad drug habit, I know.
Yeah, but the drug habit for sure. I don't know if he was violent.
And I don't know how much of this came out because I got to go back and watch that whole thing because I know I watched some of it. I can't remember watching all of it. But what I do know, Key, please let me know if they spoke to this. But I know for a fact because Bobby Brown admitted her and Bobby for a second was kicking.
You didn't mention Bobby in this, but go ahead.
But it was never about that she was having a baby by Bobby Brown. But they kind of kicked it for a minute. But Joe was like, Jackson was like,
okay.
Because Joe's thing was he wasn't going to let nobody ruin his daughter's chance to be Janet.
Yeah.
So, he was.
And that's my point about James. That the family probably swooped in and said, no.
Yes.
And so I don't know if a child was involved, but to be honest, I wouldn't have wanted to be stuck or tethered to that guy for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And listen, for whatever it's worth, it's worked out great for Janet. The world has benefited. And if she did have a child, I guarantee you he wasn't left on the side of the road, and that kid didn't live good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying this is a big if. If she had a child, and let's say the child was raised in the DeBarge family as cousin baby.
Right. Because they probably said that's a big if.
Cousin brother.
I can see like Joe, because Joe's got that energy. Joe was like, wasn't nobody, because Janet was like, she was like the last one, because Mike was doing it, but he saw it in Janet too. So he wasn't.
And let's get real, because again, you were talking about women. How many of us Black sisters have dropped our babies off at at their grandparents' house, mom, dad, and got to go and was gone for 3 weeks,
right?
Or
had to have
they were raised as your brother or sister, even though that's your child.
Or had to have your mother say what she said to my sisters back in the day. You better come get this baby. I didn't make this baby. You made this baby. You better come and get it.
So enough judgment with that. We have, as Black people, we have seen it all, and in our culture. So there's no room for shaming her for that. I mean, that's what the whole fight is about. For November, reproductive rights, that you have a right to do what you want to do with your body. So like I said, whether she had the baby, gave it up for adoption, if she got an abortion, those were her decisions.
That's right.
Period.
And her life doesn't have to answer to anybody.
And we're not going to talk about abortion in the Black community. Are we going there?
And the hypocrisy is key. And I will close on because you and I were talking about, I think yesterday. I'm paraphrasing the Bible phrase, "Thou who protests too loudly."
Too loudly. Yeah.
Some of those same folks that was loud and wrong on social media, the same stuff that they condemning Janet for, they live in it.
All day.
All day, every day. And if you point at them, they get attitude.
Right. I didn't abort my child. I dropped my child off at my great auntie's and never came back. That's different.
Gotta hit that twist that lip key again. She said. That's why we love it.
That's different. I dropped my kid off with their daddy and never came back.
That's why she's the best. Kelia Karson, that's why we love her. All right, Dr. Tyson, we'll let you get back to doctoring there. We
Yes.
appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Your mother,
Gene.
your
See
mother
everybody.
said hi. She told my daughter I love her. She's my other daughter. I love
Love
her.
you too.
All right. Thanks.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.